60, you want to have mid-range normal. That, in other words, you want to have a testosterone at least, let's say, anywhere between 500 to 800 would be considered okay for a guy.
Hello and welcome. I am Coach Castle, a certified biomechanics expert, nutritionalist, and efficiency coach. Subscribe to this channel to learn the most efficient ways to maximize your muscle growth and recovery, enhance your body, and advance your mind, all using the latest science. Welcome to Castle's Corner.
So what we have you on here for today, well, on limited time, unfortunately, I could pick your brain for probably weeks, but limited time, I'd like to talk a little bit about anti-aging, nutrition for it, the hormones regarding it, what to do about it, and maybe we'll get a little bit into bodybuilding too towards the end.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so the first question I had for you is, would you mind speaking on the effects of hormones in regards to aging and how deteriorating hormones are bad for you, basically?
Well, the thing is, for example, let's take testosterone, for example. You know, testosterone is a big thing now. They call it low T, or a lot of men. It starts about age, it varies with individuals, but usually the testosterone levels start dropping around age 30 to 35 in men gradually. If I remember correctly, I believe it's 1 to 2% a year that you start to get a testosterone drop. Now, the thing about testosterone is that not all men get to the point of having testosterone low enough where they need to be supplemented. And a lot of it depends on the symptoms you're getting. There's a lot of symptoms associated with testosterone deficiency. For example, depression, low sex drive, increase of body fat. There's a host of I can't even think of all. Erectile dysfunction. I could go on and on. If you're having these kind of problems, then you should, look into. Of course, there's muscles. You can't leave that out. If you're working out with weights, if your testosterone gets too low, there's no progress whatsoever. And after a while, you won't even be able to maintain the little bit of muscle you have. I'm talking older men now. So under those conditions, it's good to have yourself tested to see if you're truly testosterone deficient. Now, the problem in medicine is that the physicians, first of all, there's the old bugaboo, there's the old myth about testosterone causing prostate cancer. And the newer one is that it causes cardiovascular disease. And a lot of physicians who really don't know the medical literature about testosterone are very hesitant to give it to men, even if they are medically or clinically testosterone deficient, because of the fear of causing testosterone cancer. But there's a famous urologist from Massachusetts General Harvard. His name is Abraham Morgenthau. He was the first to show that the prostate gland has a finite ability to be affected by testosterone. In other words, anything more than normal levels of testosterone doesn't affect the prostate gland and does not cause cancer. He's shown this over and over again. Unfortunately, this hasn't been discovered or accepted by a lot of physicians who are still hesitant to give men testosterone. Now, on the other hand, who are the men that usually need testosterone? A lot of times, believe it or not, a low testosterone level can be caused by having a lot of body fat, being out of shape, poor diet. That alone could bring, especially if you're over 40, can give you a almost deficient level of testosterone. Many men who lose body fat, exercise and lose enough body fat, will find that the testosterone comes up to normal levels where they don't even require testosterone supplementation. So basically, to sum it all up, I'd say the people that need testosterone, I would say most men, at least 50% of men over the age of 40 are on either low testosterone or borderline testosterone. Some figures might even be higher than that, but you should really go by the symptoms. In other words, if you're having all these like depression and loss of muscle, sexual problems, that kind of thing, you should look into, have yourself tested. If you show low testosterone, maybe it'd be a good idea. But then again, here's another problem, is that the scale for testosterone is another controversy, because if the scale of normal testosterone, I'm just going to give figures, it goes anywhere from 300 up to 1,000, let's say. Anything below 300 is considered clinically deficient in testosterone. However, some doctors believe that testosterone levels as low as 200 is normal, and they will not prescribe testosterone. A man who has a 300 level of testosterone, that's a debatable issue. I consider that testosterone deficient. In other words, let's say a man, let's say 50, 60, you want to have mid-range normal. In other words, you want to have a testosterone at least, let's say anywhere between 500 to 800 would be considered okay for a guy, let's say over 40, 50, 60 years old. To build muscle now, if you're in a category where, let's say you're a guy about 50, 55 years old, and you want to build, you've been clinically diagnosed as having low testosterone. If you want to build muscle, you're going to have to get a little bit slightly higher testosterone levels, around 800. You want to probably have between 700 and 800 to build muscle at that age. The lower levels will maintain muscle, but make it difficult to build muscle. And the other controversy is the form of testosterone, because most doctors will give out a testosterone cream. They used to give out a patch. I don't think they do that much anymore. The cream is designed to bring testosterone levels up to midpoint, around 400 or 500. They believe that keeping it within that physiological range will prevent any of the possible problems related to testosterone, such as prostate stimulation and the cardiovascular effect. They think having a high testosterone could increase your risk for these problems. That's again a debatable issue. The problem there is that having a 400 or 500 testosterone will maintain muscle, but you're not going to build much muscle on that. You got to get it a little bit higher. And the only way to do that, unfortunately, well, not really unfortunately, is testosterone injections. Now, the problem with testosterone injections is twofold. First of all, you have to be able to give it to yourself. A lot of guys, and I've met these guys, are afraid of needles. They don't like injecting. Perfectly understandable.
I had a phobia for years. Even taking drugs for years, I still hate them.
I wouldn't put you down for that. That's understandable. That's the first problem. In other words, but there's various sites. You can inject testosterone in your shoulder. You can inject it in the frontal thigh, or you can inject it in the buttocks. I think the buttocks is probably the easiest place. It's a little hard to reach because you got to get the right area. You don't want to hit the sciatic nerve. You can have problems. You have to learn where to do it. And there's a lot of videos that show you exactly where to inject. They're pretty good. But the thing is, you have to do that. And the other thing is that there's a new thing in medicine. I can't remember this a doctor. You probably heard of him. He committed suicide not long ago. He specialized in men's health, particularly testosterone replacement therapy. Can't remember his name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know exactly where you're going with this too. Yeah, I got a laugh out of this lunatic.
He advocated. He was the first I know to advocate sub-Q testosterone. In other words, but he made a very silly statement. His reasoning, I saw this video. The reasoning was that he said for example, he says if you start testosterone therapy, let's say at 40 years old, you have to stay on it. It's not something you go on and off. You stay on it because you're basically replacing deficient testosterone. So he says after a while, sticking those needles on your glute, you're creating little holes, and that's a problem. So he decided that the best way to administer testosterone is through sub-Q, which involves much, much smaller doses of testosterone, anywhere from 50 to a maximum of 100 milligrams of testosterone. And you just inject it, just like an insulin needle, inject it right under the skin. Now, the advantages of that, if you look at some of these testosterone forums, is that supposedly some of the problems with testosterone injections are you get an increase, for example, of dehydrotestosterone, which is a byproduct of testosterone. Dehydrotestosterone is produced by the activity of the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, which converts testosterone to dehydrotestosterone. Let's call it DHT for short. Problem with DHT is associated with male pattern baldness, acne, and it used to be associated with prostate problems, including prostate cancer.